So we've talked about neurodiversity, and we've talked about some of those conditions. Let's go into them in a little bit more detail so that we have a better understanding of what we mean when we say ADHD, autism, dyslexia, and so on and so forth. Because there's a lot to unpack here. So let's start with ADHD. So ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and it's really defined and identified by an inattention or a hyperactivity or an impulsivity. So someone's they have a hard time focusing. They're very hyperactive. They got to get up and move, and they got to do things now. And when you start on a project, they want to move on to the next one. And you know, in the corporate world, you'll find them working on lots of different projects. They'll be working with lots of different folks. I find salespeople are actually sales is a great place for folks with ADHD because they have a lot of folks that they can work with, and it's just a quick content, and then they can move from one contact to another and really engage those folks, which is great. Individuals will find it difficult to focus on tasks. And they're often daydreaming regularly. Adults with ADHD feel restless, they'll be fidgety, and they'll struggle with those impulsive behaviors by making really rash decisions because they'll just run off and they want to do something. So maybe one day they'll be sitting there and then all of a sudden they're like, you know what, I want to go skydiving. Or I'm going to go deep sea fishing, or just something they've never done before. And there's lots of stuff that you got to have in preparation for that. But they don't want to do that. They just want to do the thing and move on. So that's the rash decisions. They have difficulty with executive functions like planning and emotional regulation and decision making. That's effective. So they really want to quickly jump into this stuff. And they're really good about engaging folks and whatnot. But a lot of those executive functions make it really difficult. So planning is very difficult for them. Emotional regulation is a really big thing. That can be difficult. So they'll get very emotional, and it can get really, really defensive very quickly when they find that they're unmasking and they don't mean to. So those with ADHD will often express very vivid imaginations. So you'll see a lot of very effective, very visionary leaders with ADHD. This is one of the huge benefits of that. And they love brainstorming. They'll sit down and they love just throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what's going to stick. They're very energetic. They love being spontaneous. And they're very creative, inventive, and they like to think outside the box. It's very typical, in a typical day, as their minds are constantly active and jumping through various different ideas, scenarios, and concepts. They'll focus on each of those different things, and they'll start something, and then they'll have a whole backlog of stuff that's kind of out there and is running, and they're ready to go with it. But they've got other things that really interest them at the moment. Right. So that is an expression of ADHD. So hopefully that's helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments. I'd love to hear, particularly from someone who's been diagnosed with ADHD, what you feel your benefits are and your strengths. I'd like to have that conversation. Let's go ahead and throw it in there. And then feel free to click like and subscribe if you like seeing what you're seeing, and enjoy your learning journey.